12 months ago, Manchester United walked away from Carlos Baleba because Brighton wanted more than £100 million for him. Now they're about to get him for almost half that price, and it might just be the smartest piece of business Old Trafford has done in years. Here's why. Deal news broke this week that United and Brighton were closing in on an agreement, with the Red Devils tabling an offer worth around £60 million plus £5 million in add-ons. David Ornstein described talks as amicable, with all parties working toward finalizing the move for the Cameroon international. A 5-year contract is already sitting there ready for Baleba to sign the moment the fee is agreed, and he's understood to be preparing to travel to Manchester for a medical once everything's confirmed. Personal terms were never the issue here. It's always been about the number, and that number tells a story in itself. Last summer, when Baleba's stock had never been higher off the back of 2 outstanding seasons at Brighton, United were reportedly willing to go to £75 million. Brighton wanted north of £100 million. No deal got done. Fast forward 12 months, through an injury-hit, inconsistent campaign for Baleba, and United are now closing in on a fee significantly below what they were prepared to pay before. Sometimes patience in the transfer market actually pays off. So why did his stock fall in the first place? Because United's interest actually turned his head. Reports from last season detail how Fabian Hürzeler, Brighton's manager, substituted Baleba in 8 of the opening 8 league games as speculation around a move to Old Trafford swirled around him. He was hooked at half-time on 4 separate occasions across the season and completed a full 90 minutes just 3 times in the Premier League. That's not the profile of a player who lost his talent. That's the profile of a player who lost his head for a spell while dealing with a transfer saga hanging over him and working through some nagging fitness issues at the same time. But here's the important part. When he pulled on the shirt of Cameroon at the Africa Cup of Nations, where he lined up alongside now United teammate Bryan Mbeumo, Baleba looked like himself again. Confidence restored, aggression back, engine running at full tilt. United scouts were watching, and what they saw reassured them that the player from 2 seasons ago hadn't gone anywhere. He just needed to get out from under the noise. Now, let's talk about what United are actually getting, because on the pitch, this signing solves a problem no one else in the squad currently solves. Since Casemiro's departure at the end of his contract and Manuel Ugarte's ongoing recovery from a World Cup knee injury, United have lacked a genuine ball winner who can also cover ground. Andre Santos and Yuri Tielemans have arrived and impressed in pre-season, but they're both technicians, passers, rhythm players. Analysis doing the rounds this month shows Tielemans was actually the Premier League's leading line-breaking passer last season, ahead of even Bruno Fernandes, while also chipping in nearly 3 tackles a game. Impressive numbers. But neither he nor Santos ranks among the division's serious runners, and that AC Milan defeat in pre-season exposed exactly that gap. A lack of energy, a missing box-to-box presence capable of covering ground at pace and putting out fires before they spread. That's precisely Baleba's game. He's an athletic front-foot defender who reads the moment before it happens rather than reacting to it. Watch him closely and you'll see a midfielder who patrols the space just outside the opposition box, snapping up loose balls before attacks can even form. In Brighton's win over Chelsea last season, he won the ball off Robert Sanchez inside the penalty area and set up the chance himself. Against United on the final day of last season, he was first to pounce on a loose ball straight after Kobbie Mainoo's clearance. That's not luck, that's anticipation, repeated over and over. He's not the biggest at around 5'10", but he compensates with balance and body intelligence that lets him win duels against much bigger opponents. Sometimes it's a clean sliding tackle timed to perfection. Sometimes it's a shoulder used to nudge a player off the ball entirely without conceding a foul. And once he's won it back, he doesn't just recycle possession sideways, he drives with it, carrying the ball through midfield with the kind of purposeful running United have been crying out for since Paul Pogba left. Speaking of Pogba, that's not a random comparison. Baleba has openly named him, alongside Yaya Touré and Andres Iniesta, as one of his footballing influences, with Neymar and Ronaldinho cited among his favourite players to watch growing up. There's a self-expression to his game that goes beyond just being a destroyer. He wants the ball, he wants to progress it, and being left-footed gives him a different passing angle to almost everyone else currently in United's midfield. Now, is he the finished article? No. And this is where United's gamble genuinely becomes a gamble. Baleba is only 22. He's currently working his way back from an ankle ligament injury picked up in pre-season, and he'll need time once he returns to reach proper match sharpness. There'll also be an adjustment period tactically, learning United's possession-based rhythm under Michael Carrick, who wants the ball moved quickly through midfield with short, sharp combinations rather than the more transitional, duel-heavy football Baleba thrived in at Brighton. Nobody should expect him to be plug-and-play from his first involvement, but look at how he could actually fit once he's up to speed, because there are 3 genuinely exciting combinations here. Paired with Tielemans, Baleba offers the defensive cover the Belgian previously enjoyed alongside Ndidi and more recently Onana at Villa, freeing him to dictate play further forward. Paired with Mainu, he becomes the physical enforcer, allowing United's academy graduate to focus purely on progressing the ball in tight areas. And paired with Santos, arguably the most tactically fascinating option of all, Santos could sit as the deeper screening presence while Baleba is given license to roam and hunt the ball across a wider area of the pitch. Whichever combination Carrick lands on, all 3 point toward the same outcome, a United midfield with far greater defensive discipline than it's had in years. Zoom out for a second, and this deal also fits a wider pattern in how United have recruited this summer. Of the additions made across the club in 2025, only Benjamin Sesko and Sene Lamens arrived from outside the Premier League. Everyone else has come from a rival top-flight club. There's a clear philosophy behind that. Buying proven Premier League quality costs more, but it dramatically reduces the risk of a player struggling to adapt to the physicality and pace of English football. Mbeumo and Cunha settled almost instantly last season, and that success appears to have shaped how United are approaching this window. Paying a premium for certainty rather than gambling on the unknown from abroad is now clearly part of the strategy at Old Trafford. There's also a strategic story running underneath all of this. United's transfer business this summer has been noticeably sharper and quieter than in years gone by. Santos was wrapped up from Chelsea in a few days. Tielemans followed within days from Aston Villa off the back of his release clause. Names like Aurelien Tchouameni, Alex Scott and Sander Berg were floated publicly, while behind the scenes, United's recruitment team had already done the real groundwork on Baleba a year earlier. As Carrick himself put it recently, "We want more, we need more." And this deal is the clearest evidence yet that United's data and recruitment department are finally operating with genuine conviction rather than trailing targets for months on end, the way they famously did chasing Frenkie de Jong back in 2022. Baleba likely won't be the final arrival either, with reinforcement at left-back still viewed as an urgent priority before the window shuts. But as a statement of intent, this signing says everything about where United want to go: younger, hungrier, more athletic, and willing to bet on Premier League experience rather than gambles from abroad. If this deal gets over the line, don't be surprised if, 12 months from now, we're talking about Carlos Baleba as one of the smartest signings of Michael Carrick's rebuild. What do you think of the deal? Let us know in the comments. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to turn on post notifications so that you never miss out on any new videos. See you next time. Bye. Football fans, this is the deal you don't want to miss. Whether you're hunting for an iconic World Cup jersey or the colours of your favourite club, Goal90 Shop has the perfect pick for you. And right now, everything is a flat 15% off, with free shipping anywhere in the world. So don't wait. Hit the link in the description, head over to Goal90 Shop and grab your favourite jersey today.